does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! Back again today for another game review charged by BoardGameExchange.com, the only board game rental website. And today I am very excited to be checking out Mage Wars from Arcane Wonders. This is for 2 players, ages 14 up, and it'll take you about 45 to 90 minutes to play. And in Mage Wars, you will be taking control of a mage, going into an arena, and fighting to the death with another mage, casting spells and enchantments and creatures. Sound exciting? Let's open it up and see how it plays. Alright, so inside of Mage Wars, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get. First and foremost, I want to say the box is a very nice looking insert. I love how big the box is because you're going to be able to hold every single expansion that comes out for this game in this box, which is awesome. Arcane Wonders. Next, we're going to take a look at the rule booklet. It is huge. It is, I believe it's like 46 pages, double-sided, full-colored, but it is an outstanding rule booklet. It'll teach you exactly how to play. And even though the game appears to be very complex, it's actually really simple once you know how to play, which is always good. But you will still probably need it for a while until you figure out what all the buzzwords means, like damage barrier and effect die and all this different kind of stuff. But that's very easy to go back and look up. As you can see, there's a lot going on this board. I'm not going to be able to go over exactly how the game is played. I'm going to give you a real loose feel of how the game is played and go over the components. But you're going to need to get the rule booklet or watch a much longer video to figure out exactly how the game is played. First thing we're going to go over right here are these little counters. These are going to keep track of your health, your mana, and how much mana you're going to get each turn, how much you're going to channel. This is going to be crucial because in this game, as I mentioned before, you're going to be trying to kill the other mage, so you're going to have a set number of health, and once you lose all that health, you are done for the game. That's where you're going to be keeping track of that. Next, you're going to have these little round tokens. You're going to have 2 different colors of them, and these are going to represent your actions in the game. You're going to have a quick action, and you're going to have a long action. Now, what does that mean? You're going to be casting spells with your actions. So some spells will have lightning bolts on them, which means it's a quick action, and some spells will have a time glass on it, which means it's a long action. You cast the quick action first, and you can forego it, or you can do a bunch of different things, really. But once you've used your action, you're going to flip these over, and that will symbolize that you've used your actions. Now, all your other creatures that you get out on the board, because you can summon creatures, will get their own unique action, but not their own quick action. So you get a bunch of those action markers. Next, you're going to get your special, well, you get these, which will be used to keep track of your mana and your channeling and your health, like we talked about just a minute ago. Next, you're going to get dice. You're going to get special dice, and there's 2 kinds of dice in this game. First, you're going to get a standard 12-sided dice. If you're rolling this dice, it's probably either good or it's really good or really bad, because it means someone's either attacking you and you're trying to block their attack, because this would be used to try and completely ignore their attack, or that means you're attacking somebody else normally, and if you roll a certain number, then that other person is going to have something bad happen to them aside from taking damage. They might be stunned, they might be incapacitated, they might be slammed against a wall, a variety of different things. Next, you're going to have these 6-sided dice. Now, they're going to have 2 different symbols on them. They're going to have your standard 1 and your standard 2, and then they're going to have a 1 and a 2 on them with the stars on them. So, if you get a standard 1, let's just pretend that this is what you roll. You only get 1. Now, normally that would do 1 damage to your opponent's mage. However, if they have armor on, then this would do no damage. So, let's pretend they had 3 armor, this would do no damage. However, you had, say, a 2 and a 2, then the armor would eat up 3 of the damage, and you would do 1 damage. Now, there's also direct damage. That's with the stars on it. When you roll the stars, that means the mage is taking that damage. So there's 1 and 2 direct damage. So obviously, every time you're hoping to get this direct damage right here. Those are the dice in the game, and you're going to see you're going to get a lot of those dice, because sometimes if you can get good combinations, good characters going, you can roll a lot of dice and attack your opponent. So I mentioned the yellow dice. The yellow dice, when you roll it, is going to normally, or when you're attacking, might cause something special to happen to someone, which is why all these tokens are included. There is a boatload of tokens. Let's just go through them. Sometimes you might get burned, and you get a burn, you gotta put a burn on you, and it's going to cost you, it's gonna burn you, it's gonna cause you pain, and you might get stunned, or you might get rotted, you might get dazed, you might have a special animal pet that can taunt other things, and then they have to attack that instead of attacking you. you. Or you might get a guard, or you might get a pet. Like you might have your very own pet. If you play as the Beastmaster, which I like, you get your own pet, and that means that pet is going to get special attributes. The other player might be weak, or they might be crippled, or they might have damage on them. The last one I want to mention in here, and there's a bunch of them as you can see, is the mana tokens. Because you are going to be gaining mana, which as I mentioned you're going to keep track of on your board, but some creatures and other layers and stuff like that will also gain mana, and they're really nice to have. Intriguing? Yes, it is. There's a lot in this game, though, that is very, very cool and intriguing. Next, we're going to get to the spell books. This is the star of the show. You're going to get 2 with the game, and as you can see, these are very nice-looking spell books. Very pretty, very nice to look at, and this is where you are going to keep your spell of cards, which we're going to get to last. So how this works is, when you first start the game, there's going to be a set number of spells going to be in your spell book, and these cards are various different spells. You're also going to gain a creature. You might be the Warlock, or the Beastmaster, or the Wizard, or the Priestess. They all play drastically different. But that's going to be your pawn, so to speak. This is going to be you, and you're going to be moving around the board. So let's just pretend for this little game we're going to have a Priestess versus a Beastmaster over here in this corner. You're going to set up your players in opposite corners. You're going to have your spell booklets. Now in your spell booklets, you are going to have a boatload of different spells. As you can see, there's just tons of them. Different kinds of spells that are going to do different things. And you're going to be summoning creatures and enchantments and all sorts of different things as you play. But let's go over the different kind of cards in the game. First, you're going to have great cards, and these are things you can cast. These are all equipment. Normally, they'll give you armor, they'll give you weapons. This one will let you channel 1 more mana, so instead of gaining 9 mana a turn, you might gain 10. There's a bow and arrow. There's just literally boatloads of things that will do different things. Some of these will give you a special defense dice, which means you can roll this, and if you roll higher than a 7, then guess what? You know what? You're not going to get attacked, which is awesome. I mean, some of them will, like this says flames -2. That means if someone is attacking you with flames, they're going to roll 2 less attack die against you, which is really nice. There's rings, which will help you summon creatures or summon different enchantments for 1 less mana. There's boatloads of stuff in there. Next, we are going to have our enchantments. These are, some are good, some are bad, but you're going to be summoning these on creatures and mages and various different people. So let's just take a look at a couple of them. This one, let's see, this is called Vampirism. Now, these ones are very unique. Normally, you would just pay the mana. So let's pretend I wanted to cast these leather gloves. It's going to cost me 2 mana to do it. However, with this Vampirism, when you cast it, it's going to go face down, and it's going to cost you 2 mana to put it there. Now, you can put this on one of your guys, and what that means is essentially when they attack, they're going to attack for damage, but they're also going to regenerate some health. Now, this is going to be a secret, though, until you reveal it. When you decide to reveal it, you're going to pay 4 additional mana. You'll reveal it, and they'll be like, uh-oh, now that's a vampire bat, or a vampire bear, or a vampire anything. I mean, there's traps, and there's various different things that you can put on your opponents which will hurt them. I mean, there's wings so things can fly, and there's jinxes on different spells, and you can take away people's wings. Literally, there are boatloads of different cards in here, and they're all going to cost you various different things, which I need to get in right now. Part of the fun of this game is making your own spell book, but you can't just pick out any old spell you like. If you're a wizard, you know, you can't use warlock spells, and they're going to cost the same as if you're a warlock. So essentially, here we go. This fox right here. We'll go with here. We're on the creatures now, but this is a bitterwood fox. If you are a Beastmaster, this is going to cost you 1 of your 120 points to put in your spell booklet, so that's pretty nice. But if you're a Priestess, it's going to cost you 2 points. I think it's the Warlock or something that if they have, there's another one that if you have nature, it's going to cost you 3 to put it in there, which is really not that bad. But once you start getting to the nicer creatures, like if you wanted to put this mountain gorilla in there, it's going to cost the Beastmaster 4, but it's going to start costing the Priestess 8. So she's like, you know what, I don't think it's worth the 8 to put the mountain gorilla in there. But anywho, back onto the creatures. There's various different creatures. There's like animal creatures. There's fairies and wizards. I mean, there's those are obvious for the Beastmasters. There's a mana leech when it attacks. It's going to steal some mana from your opponent, which is always nice. There's a blue gremlin. I really like this guy because he gets to teleport all across the board. Whereas normally you can only go 2 spaces. This guy can just teleport wherever he wants. There's a unicorn who's going to regenerate. And there's a cleric who can hurl dice and heal you. There's a Gray Angel who's powerful, and when he's about to die, if he wants to, he can roll 6 dice and heal anyone on the board, but it's going to kill him. I mean, there's tons of unique different abilities on here. Let's see. Oh, that's a big bad guy. We got the Dark Pact Slayer. And, you know, he's a big bad guy, but there's tons of different creatures, extremely versatile. Next, we are going to have our conjurations. These are one of my favorite ones in the game. Now, a lot of what these ones are things you're going to lay down on the board. These are going to go in certain zones. So let's pretend you laid down this tree. This tree, whenever there's a guy there on your team, they're going to regenerate 2 of their health. So, you know, if you're hurting, you might try and go back to this tree so you can regenerate health. Or there's like, let's see, there's this one. This is a bad one. This guy gives finite life, which means, I don't remember what that means actually, so we're going to skip that one. There's fog there. A fog bank, which you can put up here, and now if you're over here, and this fog bank's right here, people can't see you, and if there's like a guy here and he wants to attack you, too bad, because he can't see you through the fog. There's Gates of Hell, there's various different ones, and a lot of these cards are exclusive. Some of them are exclusive to certain things, so where's my favorite card? It's called the Lair. It's in here. And the Lair will let you spew out animals pretty much really fast. It will gain its own mana and it can release animals at the beginning of every round, but it's only for Beastmasters. The Priestess can't use it, but she probably has one that's equally as nice. Next, we're going to move on to our incantations. These ones will really help you out a lot. A lot of these things are kind of, how do I want to call them? They're not really going to do damage normally, but they're going to be aces in your pocket that you really need. This is one of my favorites. This is called Banish. It's going to cost you 14 mana to do it, so it's a lot of mana. But at the same time, this is going to take a creature off the board for 3 turns. Boom, creature's gone. So if you got this big old bear about to kill you, you banish it, that thing's gone for 3 turns, and you can hopefully do something in those 3 turns. But there's tons of them. Some will let you heal, some will let you heal a big group of people. This one will push someone. You can push them into a wall, you can push them through thorns. This one was dispel, so if there's a really nice spell or a really bad spell on you, then you can get rid of that spell if you put in a certain amount. Dissolve, that will get rid of someone's equipment. So if there's like, you know, they have a really awesome sword that's really hurting you, can dissolve it and get rid of it. There is tons of stuff in here that will do various different things, but most of them aren't attacks. Speaking of attacks, let's get to our attacks. Now, this is a smaller stack. Normally, when I play Beastmaster, I don't have too many attacks in here. Likewise, the Priestess probably isn't going to have too many attacks in there unless she decides to focus her on attacking, which, you know what? If she can do that if she wants, because this game is very versatile like that. But these are all just straight up attacks. These are going to hurt other people. Some will use water, some will use fire, some will use wind, some will be like area of effects, so like everything in this area might be getting attacked. Or some of them, there's even one in here which will do damage from 3 away. Now most things are going to do 0 to 2 squares. So they're either, if you're here, you can attack here, or you can attack here, 2 squares away. But there's one that will do 3 squares away, but it costs 10 to do, so it's really expensive. But these are all different attacks. Those are all the cards in the game. Those are going to be in your spell booklet, and what you're going to do is you are going to go through the rounds of the turn. So let's get to that. First, also I want to mention each unique mage is going to have their own different attributes. So, for instance, the Warlock is going to have special abilities, the Blood Reaper ability. The Beastmaster can have a special pet, which means he'll be strong and buffed up and have more defense. The Wizard can have a Voltaic Shield, which if he turns on is going to take some damage, and the shield will eat up the damage instead of him taking the damage, which is really nice. The Priestess, if she casts certain kinds of spells, she instantly gains 1 health, which is really nice because she's going to be casting a lot of those spells. But, anywho, so we finally got down to brass tacks. We got our books, we got our board, and what we're going to do is we are going to start and we're going to have our action markers right here on it. I'm not going to do it for the Priestess because we're just going to show you how 1 turn for this Beastmaster is going to go. So, he's got his quick action right there, he's got his long action there, he's up in the corner here, he's going to go through his spell booklet at the beginning of the game, and he's going to pick out probably 2 spells he wants to play. Now, he does have to remember that he's only going to have a certain number of mana. At the beginning of the game, you're going to get 10 mana, and then you're going to get however much mana you can channel. So he's going to start with 19 mana. So he's got to pick out 2 spells that he can afford that are going to cost him 19. So he might decide, you know what, I want to make sure I'm nice and buff. I'm going to get these leather boots. These are a quick spell, so he's going to hide that away from his opponent. And then he also might decide that, oh, you know what, we're going to start this game off with a bang. I'm going to get out a Steel Claw Grizzly Bear. So these would be the two cards he decided. The Priestess would pick her two cards, and then you would decide who has the initiative. The initiative is just who's going first, and it's one of these little tiles in here. But that person is going to be first, and that passes back and forth. So first we'd have the quick cast phase. So what you can do is you can either do your quick cast, or you can decide to pass your quick cast and do your quick cast later in your turn. So he's not going to do that. He's going to say, all right, I'm going to do my leather boots for 2. He's going to set them over to the side. So now he is going to have +1 armor. Then he's going to flip over his quick cast. The Priestess is going to do her quick cast if she chooses to, and then it goes back to his action. Now, if he had a creature out, he could use his creature to take the action, but since he doesn't, he's just going to do his action, which is to summon a Steel Claw Grizzly. Now, this says 0 of 0, so he has to summon it in his own square. He will put an additional action marker on there, face down, but now he has spent, he moves his mana marker, and he spent all of his mana, all 19, but now he has +1 armor and a Grizzly, and he is ready to go out and beat up this Priestess. But anywho, you're going to be moving all around the board, trying to fight each other and kill each other until eventually one person dies. And that, in a nutshell, is how Mage Wars is played. Alrighty then, Mage Wars from Arcane Wonders. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game's not going to be for everybody for a couple different reasons. First, it's a very dark theme. I mean, essentially, it's just you versus somebody else. One of you is going to kill one another, and one person is going to walk out of the arena the victor. That's not going to be for everybody. Also, the game is on the longer side for a 2-player game. It's 45 to 90 minutes, it says. But when you're first starting to learn the game, this could be a 2 to 3 hour game, especially if it's a pretty balanced game. Other than that, you can play with up to 4 players, it says, but you're going to need an additional copy of the game, and I think this game is just about perfect 2 players, so I really wouldn't want to do that. That's a little bit of a spoiler, because let's go on to the pros, and I want to say this first and foremost, Mage Wars is one of the best games I have ever played. It is outstanding from top to bottom. I love Mage Wars. Thank you so much, Arcane Wonders, for making this game. But why do I love Mage Wars? Let's go over a couple different reasons. First, the artwork is fantastic. Every single card has its own artwork. It looks outstanding. I love the board. It really gets me into the theme of the game. I love the 4 different Beastmasters included in the core game because they're all drastically different. They play different. When you're playing a Beastmaster, you're going to know you're playing a Beastmaster. You're clearly going to not feel like you're playing a Priestess. Now, granted, you can have some Priest and healing spells here and there and some Warlock spells here and there, but you are first and foremost a Beastmaster. But with that being said, each time you play a Beastmaster, you can take wildly different strategies. I mean, you can totally, if you want to, just spawn as many animals as you would like. You could potentially have 3 animals coming out each and every time after the second round. I mean, that's crazy. You can just have animals just running all over the board. Or what you can do, since you actually get a +1 attack when you're fighting hand to hand, you can potentially buff your character up and get big and strong, and then just spawn a bear. Then you and your bear can just go around the board just wrecking stuff and trying to rush at the other mage and kill them. I mean, there is tons of different strategy, and making a spell booklet. Oh, last but not least, why do I love this game? Making a spell booklet is hair pull-out fun, if that makes sense. When you're making a spell booklet, you're gonna have a boatload of spells you want to put in there. But the bottom line is, you can't put every spell you wanted to. And then at that point, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get rid of this, but at the same time, I want this really bad. And you're gonna be like, okay, maybe I can just do this instead of this. And you're gonna sit there, and then when you finally do get to that magic number of 120 points in your spell booklet, you're gonna be like, yes! I hit 120, and then you're going to go out and you might get wrecked. And then it's a lot of fun, though, because then you can completely redo your spell booklet. Overall, Mage Wars is outstanding. Go buy it. It is an exceptional game. This will be on my top 10 list for a very long time. Every time I play it, I like it a little bit better. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your time, YouTube.
That was a review for Mage Wars. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bauer's Game Corner. Also check out BoardGameExchange.com, the nationwide board game rental service.